So, supports are one of the most mystifying things about the 3D process because everyone has their own way to place and play around with supports. Unfortunately, there's no a golden rule for how supports should be. However, there's a couple of advices that people give whenever we're building supports. First of all, we want supports to be hidden, similar to UVs when we're texturing. We don't want the marks of the supports to be really obvious. So it would be a bad idea, for instance, for me to place a support right there, because more often than not, that support, when we break it, it's going to create a little bit of a hole right there, and it's going to make the sculpture look bad. Now, there's three types of supports. We have this light support, medium support, and heavy support. They each have a different role to fulfill. And some people, I've seen videos around where they change the type of diameter, the type of stuff in here. There's a general a tendency to try and minimize the supports as much as possible to make sure that they don't leave a mark and that you save as much resin as possible. In my personal opinion, I'd rather have a successful print, even if I waste a little bit more material on thicker supports, than have a failed print and then have to waste everything. So that's going to depend on you, of course, but let's start here on the bottom of the character. So I press this thing here on Chitubox, and we're going to start going layer by layer, and we're going to see where the islands start to be born. So for instance, here we have the first island. That's the first place where our element's going to start exposing itself. And this is the part where you want to add the thickest support. So I'm going to select heavy supports, and I'm going to click right there. Now, this thing that's on the outside, that's called the raft. This is the base of the support, and the first few layers are going to be really solid, and then we're going to get thin effects. And we do want this raft because it's going to give a lot of support to our elements. Again, some people have found other types of rafts that are a little bit more efficient and stuff. I like to stick with stock settings just to guarantee that my print is going to work instead of having to do it again and again and again. So on the first contact point, I always like to add a couple of heavy supports, as many heavy supports as possible. Not too many, but just enough that there's that I have a good idea that this thing is going to hold quite nicely, as you can see right there. Okay, so that one I know that's not going to fail. That's going to be working perfectly fine. The supports are going to be built, and then we're going to start building this thing on top of the supports. And as this thing grows, the more and more supports are going to be supporting the thing. Now, you can see here that we have a really big thing. More and more islands are going to start moving. So you're going to be moving this line right here. And as soon as you see a new island, you add a new support. There we go. So that's a new island. There's a new island right there. That's a big island. So you can, when you move the element, you're going to see that line, that black line. That's telling you where the main pressure point is going to be happening, where the main island is being born. So I'm going to add, for instance, one right there, and another one right there. When you see more red, again, that's Chitubox telling you, hey, the areas are getting a little bit tense right here. You got a lot of space, a lot of form, a lot of resin, and if you don't support that resin, you are running the risk of the whole thing failing. So again, since this is the bottom part of the thing, better safe than sorry. See that really intense point right there? So better safe than sorry, and I'll rather add a couple of more heavy supports all the way here on the base than have my sculpture fail and have to start over again. So I'm going to add all of these supports. I know it looks like overkill, but believe me, again, I'd rather have all of these supports than have my sculpture fail. Let's go back here again. Let's add, especially here, those big black areas, those are areas where you need more supports. So just to be safe, a couple more extra supports here and there. Just to, again, I'll rather have this waste a little bit more resin than have a lot of problems. Now, if resin is very expensive in your country and you want to save, then you can try and optimize this. Again, I prefer being safe than sorry. Now, everything's going to be building on top of itself, so we really don't need any more supports. However, I do like adding a couple of supports here on the side, even though they're not really adding any sort of weight support. They help me stabilize the figure. So they're going to be small, simple supports here around the element, just to, stabilize the whole thing, kind of like the scaffolding of a building. Now we keep going, all of this is building nicely, everything is building on top of each other piece, no overlaps, no nothing. Perfect so far, we don't need any more supports, and doop, we got the feet. Now the feet's a really important piece, and it's a really what's the word? It's not only important, it's really fragile, right? So we can't add a heavy support, because if I add a heavy support, when I remove that support, we're gonna lose all that detail. So in this case, I'm actually gonna use a light support. So one light support for each toe. And you can see when I add the light supports, what's gonna happen is they're gonna create a scaffolding between themselves, and they're gonna create like this very nice strong pillar. Now, these very strong pillars might work, but I am gonna add a couple of more, again, light support, because I don't want to have or leave a strong mark on the foot, so that we get enough support throughout this whole piece. Now, I'm always scared about like tiny, like flimsy pieces like this one, so I might every now and then add just one heavy support like there on an area that I know that we can what's the word, that we can polish or sand later on to make sure it works nicely. So just one support right there. Maybe, I'm not sure. Let's try it with this one. I'm gonna not use that one for now. And then we keep moving. We keep moving up, and you can see there's a lot of weight here on the leg, right? Like the leg is a really important piece. There's gonna be a lot of weight. So I'm gonna use more light supports throughout the whole leg to support the leg, because I don't want the leg to be just like floating around. I want there to be enough support all the time. Now there you can see that it's trying to create this really crazy supports. That's fine. And at that point we should be good, because after this like scaffolding gets created, now we're gonna get like together with the leg, and as you can see there's gonna be enough support from other places. So again, better safe than sorry. I'm gonna add just a couple more supports, make sure that the scaffolding is working, and just keep building. Now here also, that's another island that we got here, right? And we definitely want light supports so that this doesn't break as much. So a couple of light supports there. And this is why when we were doing the sculpting, I told you guys always try to add a little bit of thickness, because thickness will give us enough place to set up the supports. If your geometry is really thin, then the support is going to pretty much rip apart the whole piece in, and that's not what you want. So that looks good. That looks like enough support. I'm still going to add just a little bit more extra support like there. I'm going to add it on flat places like that one. Again, that's going to stabilize the whole like scaffolding thingy. And I know that those areas we can sand if we need to. Now those red areas, that's again Chitubox telling me, hey, if you can't afford to add a couple more supports, I would recommend doing so, because that's a really tense area that you might need some help with. I'm actually tempted to add like a medium support right there. Again, just to help the whole thing a little bit more. And that's it. We just keep going up. And as you can see, we're not going to need any more supports, because every single piece that's remaining is being built on top of another piece. So now, after that little scaffolding gets created, there we go. Because at one point, that little like what's the knee is going to combine with the leg, and the leg is going to be adding that extra support to the whole thing. So that's it. That's pretty much it for this support piece right here for the like what's the word, for the legs and the base right there. So we're gonna go here. I'm gonna save this. So I'm gonna save the project. I'm gonna save this as Gabella legs plus base, just in case anything happens and we need to go back. Now this one, we've already rotated this. If you remember, I'm gonna rotate just a little bit more again to help with the cross section, and we can move it just slightly to the side so that it's not as close to this area right there. And we're gonna go to the supports. Now this one is a lot heavier, right? So a lot of volume right here that we have, and for this one we're definitely gonna be using a lot of heavy supports. So let's go to the very beginning of the islands right there. You can see that a lot of places start at the same time. Like that's the first line of pixels that's gonna get created. So we definitely need to support those, and then we get this whole thing. So don't underestimate the importance of the heavy supports on this area. Especially this first part is probably one of the most important parts of the process, like that. Now, after that, we have all of this border, but it gets a little bit easier because it, like Chitubox knows that we need a lot of supports. So what I like to do with bases like this, like really big bases, is I like to add supports all around the base, kind of like in a uniform way, a little bit more on the initial like points, and a little bit less as we get them away from the general thing. So all around the base. And then again, starting on the uniform section, you can see how this thing is advancing. Just a little bit of a crisscross technique. So just like this. And I know some of you, if you've done 3D printing before, you might be like, that's overkill, you don't need as much. I know. We can save a little bit of polygons here or elements. But since I'm recording this and I don't want this to fail, because again, as I've mentioned, it's more lost resin, I'll rather just make sure that this works. So I'm just gonna fill this whole base with all of the supports. We don't need as many as we keep going here. Like all of the supports should be more than enough to carry the weight. I guess there must be like some sort of like specific like formula of how many supports depending on the size of the element, but again, I'd rather be safe than sorry. So we keep going, and here I'm gonna observe, for instance, there I'm seeing this island right there that's starting. It probably needs a little bit of support, so since this is a big shape, I'll add a couple of medium supports right there, so that when that thing appears right there, we get a nice support. For instance, there, this thing is also asking me, is like, hey, you might want to try adding a couple of supports there, just to help the general construction of this thing. A lot of people, some of my students, when I teach this sort of information, they ask about automatic supports. They suck. Automatic supports are usually not really good unless it's a very simple model like a sphere or something. For like more complex models like what we have right here, I strongly recommend that you take your time and place your supports manually. Like all of those red areas where you see something there, like that's again Chitubox saying, hey, you might want to add. Doesn't mean that you need to add, it's just like you might want to add some supports right there to make sure that nothing fails. I don't think this is gonna fail because everything is like on the same mass, but it's just something that you might want to keep in mind. For instance, there, like I know that some of the nails we definitely need the support, otherwise they're gonna fail, like there. Because if there's a pixel just floating around, that's definitely gonna fail. So make sure to add something there. Now, as you can see, this one, it doesn't have enough time to go all the way down into the base, into the plate. So it's gonna support itself on another part of the project, and that's fine. Like it's not a big deal. You might get a little bit of a mark there, but it should be working quite nicely. Let's go to that one as well. Nails always scare me, so I like to add a couple of extra points right there. Again, better safe than sorry. Careful there. For instance, this support, that's a dangerous support, because if we keep that support, what's going to happen is when we take it out, we might break the nail. And I mean, it might be the end of the world, right? Like it's an undead, supposedly like an undead dragon or something. So we're fine. But if we want to keep our sculpture as clean and as close as possible to the one that we sculpted, then yeah, just be careful there. And that's it. That's the hand, and those are the legs ready to go into the 3D printing process. So the final step before before printing this thing is going into the slice section. A slice will create the actual preview that's going to be printed on your printer, and this is what you have here. Now, back in the days, we actually had to go like layer by layer and analyze whether or not there was something floating around. Nowadays, there's indicators. So for instance here, as long as you see everything green, then I know I'm safe. For instance, there I see a little bit of red. That red shape is what I told you before. That's like a suction cup. So it's a place that's going to create a little bit more tension. However, I do believe my supports are going to be strong enough to hold that pressure. There's another bit of there, another bit there. But other than that, we don't really see the problem. Everything seems to be building quite nicely. Now, there's a couple of information here that we need to be aware and that we need to know what it is. First of all, this is the amount of layers that we're going to have. That's how many like exposures we're going to have on our screen. And here we have the volume, how much resin we're going to be using. We have the weight, which is how much it weighs. It's usually very close. Price based on how much it costs. So technically, for me, this would cost only $5 to print based on the fact that my bottle costs $50. So technically, this base is only $5. But if I were to sell this, I wouldn't sell it at $5 because the time that the printer takes, electricity, alcohol, gloves, and of course the investment for the printer itself, ZBrush and everything, like that's not what you charge clients, right? Like this is what it costs to you. Down here, this is the exposure time that each layer is going to have. 2.5 is perfect. Lift distance is perfect. Lift speed is the one that we're going to change. So let me turn on the camera again, just very quickly. So we mentioned that we have this build plate, right? And this build plate is going to come down, it's going to expose itself with the bat, and then it's going to pull up. That lift speed is how fast this thing pulls up to go and do the next layer. The faster the speed, the quicker this thing is going to be. It's going to be like exposing every single layer. But the problem is, the faster you take something out, and you've probably done this when you take like a Band-Aid, there's more pressure, right? Because you're ripping apart the layer. So that's another point where sometimes prints and print jobs are going to fail. Because when you pull this out too quickly, there's not enough time to build up the force, enough force to really bring all of the exposed pieces back into the build plate, okay? So my recommendation is to bring this lift speed down to something like 40. Yes, this will increase the time. You can see here, when it was at 80, the print time was going to be 3 hours and 49 minutes. And if I bring this all the way down to 40, I'm going to say 50. It's going to be 4 hours, 52 minutes. So yes, it's going to be a longer time. However, even though it's a longer time, it's going to give you a better result. It's going to, I think it's going to fail less. So here, even though I'm going to go all the way down to 40, I'll rather have 1 extra hour or 40 more minutes. And again, make sure that this thing works. Maybe 45. Let's try 45. So we get 5 hours, 5 hours of a print job. Okay. And that's it. We just save this file. I'm gonna save this on the STL file. I'm gonna save this Gavala base plus Lex and hit save. It will write the file. The newest Chitubox, I'm using 1.9.2. It's really fast. A couple of versions ago, it's really slow. There are others like other slicers. These are called slicers, and all of them are good. However, again, I'm using Chitubox because that's the one that works the best with Elegomars. Okay. So that's it, guys. I'm going to stop the video right here, and in the next one, we're going to talk about the supports for the head and the body. So hang on tight, and I'll see you back on the next one. Bye-bye.